Hello there, this is Dave Motohead. I'm out at the ranch and I'm going to be fixing some idler pulleys today, putting some new bearings in and stuff like that. So let me put on the hat cam and I'll show you what we're doing. Because I am the man with many hats, as some have called me. Okay, this is my second go around here. I already did one, but I didn't get it on video very good, so I'm going to do it again just for your personal enjoyment. That glove ain't gonna work. Anyway, what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna take this pulley off and take this bearing out. And what I've got is just, I jerry-rigged up a couple chunks of steel on the vise here. And I'm going to stick my little thing in there. But first of all, let me go over this first. What we're gonna do right now is we're gonna get this bearing, that's the pin that goes into the bracket here. We're going to push that bearing out, and so what you want to do is you want to support this arm right in there. So you're holding on that part, and you can push that out, which you guys probably know that already. But anyways, so I've got that sitting there like that, and I'm going to heat it up. And the other one just fell out all by itself. So I'll just heat up the aluminum. You can see it getting hot there. Hopefully you can see that. And try to heat up the aluminum and keep the steel from getting so hot. I'm going to keep the torch moving. Just get that aluminum nice and hot. I like this little torch here because it's easier to use than oxyacetylene. And I'm going to see if this one's going to fall right out like the other one did. Well, maybe this one won't fall out. The other one got to a point where it just fell right out all by itself. And that's probably good enough. There it goes. Oh, gee whiz. Well, anyways, just comes right out. Hopefully I didn't bend that thing, but I'm trying to save the pulley. But anyways, that's how you do that part of it. And got my welding gloves on there. Now I'll show you how to put that bearing back together. Hold on one second. Okay, so we've got our bearing and pulley out of there. The next thing we want to do is we want to press the bearing out of the pulley. And the way you want to do that is when you look at these pulleys, you see that there's the part that spins. But you don't want to press on that when you're taking this off of here, or putting it back on. What you want to do is you want to go around the outside. You can see where the pulley stops there, and there's steel right there. Well, you want to find something that just presses on that, because that does not affect the bearing. You don't want to be pressing in and out on this, or even when you press it back in this, you want to go to the outside here and support the pulley on the hub here. And so what I've got is I've got a little steel ring that fits on there tight. I don't know if you can see that. I've got me a little piece of pipe, so it'll fit down in there. You see that just is going to support the pulley. So that'll get the pulley out of there. And then we'll take it over to our little press here. And then what I've got is I've got a socket that fits over the top. I don't know if you can see that. It fits over the top of that, and it only presses on the outside diameter, outside area of the bearing. Because that way we're just pressing this outside sleeve. That way it's not affecting the race or anything like that. And when you press it in, you want to do it the same way. So that way it doesn't destroy the bearing. And I've got a socket that's a little bit smaller. I don't know if you can see that. The socket's a little bit smaller than the outside of the bearing. So it will, it'll go all the way through and press that bearing out. So what we're going to do is we're going to set this thing on the press. And I'm going to line it up on the plunger. And I'm going to jack it up a little bit. And I'm going to take a big piece of steel. I'm going to stick it up in there so that it's nice and flat. And then I'm going to jack my press up a little bit. And I'm going to make sure that I'm lined up on the press, dead center of the plunger. And then I'm lined up this way and that way. I'm all lined up. And then I will jack it up. And it's still kind of hot. Then you can take the torch if you want. You can heat just the pulley up a little bit. Get the pulley hot. Now I'm not going to do this when I put it back in. I'll heat the pulley up before I put it on there. But it doesn't really take much heat as you've seen before. And then it should start pushing the bearing right out of the pulley. As you can see that. And then the bearing will just drop right out. There we go. And so now what we've got, whoops, so we got our pulley off there. And we've got our bad bearing off of there, and now what we'll do is we will put the new bearing on. So that's how you take them apart. Be right back with you. Okay, we've got our new bearing, and what I'm going to do is I've marked it about where dead center is compared to the old bearing. You look at there. As soon as I hit the line, I'm good. And the new bearing is a little bit different than the old bearing. The old bearing's got a race sticking up and the top, and you want to push from the outside. The very outside of this thing is where you want to push from. You don't want to push it from the center, because then this is getting stuck and you're pushing on that and it just pushes the bearing right out and you're done. So what I've got here is I've got myself a flat washer that fits over the top. So it's only pushing on this, and then I've got myself a impact socket to put on top of that, so it pushes down the washer and it'll push it into place. So that's that. And what we're going to do is we're going to heat this pulley up a little bit. Doesn't have to get really super hot. Just want to get it hot enough to get her straight. Or get me my super hot glove on here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap that in a little bit with a hammer to get it started. Get it straight there. Okay, that's probably good enough for what we're doing. So I'm going to take this thing and put it on my little pipe. Make sure she's lined up. I'm going to take my bearing, stick it down on top of there. Okay, it's started in already. Then we're going to take our little pipe and stick it up here like that. Line our bearing up on the pipe. And then we're going to put our little washer on top. And we're going to put our impact socket on there. We're going to jack this thing up until we hit the top of the top there. And we'll get this all lined up right on the piston and on that. See, we're a little bit crooked still. Come on, sucker. There we go. Get it all lined up straight is what we want. So when we start pushing, well, I don't know why that's not lining up. We'll try it this way. So when we start pushing, we push it nice and straight in there. I know it's hard to see with the old hat cam, but I think we're just about good right there. And we'll just push that bearing with the outside right up to our line, like that. And then I think we should be good there. Got to make sure I don't grab that. Then I think we're on there now. And then I can take our measuring device, even though it's like that, we can measure, and we're just about lined up perfect, I'd say. Right at 1/4 inch. Right at 1/4 inch, so I'd say we're good there. So that's nice and centered. Got our new bearing in place, and now we'll move on to the next operation. That's Spanish for operation. 1 second. Okay, now we've got our pulley on the bearing. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to heat this up a little bit. And we don't really have to get it super hot. And I've cleaned it all up. I took carb cleaner and sprayed in there and clean it all up, make it nice. And so, and I like heating it up because it expands it a little bit and keeps it from chafing and getting screwy on you. And you don't really have to get it super hot, just a little bit, because the aluminum gets hot pretty quick. And then put my other glove on here. Oh, God, I just dropping things today. And then what we'll do is we'll take our little aluminum piece, and we'll put a little bit of red Loctite inside there. Now, I don't know why I've never used Loctite, but somebody sent me this and it's got Loctite with it, so we'll put a little bit of Loctite in there. I guess that's the newfangled way to do it. I've never put Loctite on them before, but there we got us a good even coating of Loctite. I guess it'll help it slide in there easier too. Got us some Loctite. And then what we'll do is we will take this now, and for this operation we want to press right on this pin, right on the other side. We want to press right on that, make sure it says GM on the outside, and we want to get our thing started. Gosh, I could almost push that on by hand. And then I'm going to take my little pipe, so that'll fit down inside there, and I'm going to set it right there on the press and start pumping our press up. Get it all lined up straight. Looks pretty straight. No, actually it's not straight. Having straightness problems today with the old press. And that's exactly what it is, an old press. Anyway, we'll get this thing started. And we'll just press that sucker right up in there. Feels like my press is running out of juice. That's not good. Come on, Mr. Press. Might have to put me some oil in that thing. Anyway, we're just press it right up in there. And we want to get it about inch and a half away. Come on, sucker. So we want to press it a little bit farther. 1 3/4, I think, is what this other one is. I always measure stuff, and 1 3/4 or so. You know, there's a scientific way to do it, but works for me. So we want to press it a little bit more, but we're almost done here. It's something weird that I noticed about these. Come on, little press. Poor old Dave. It's time to rework some of my tools that are getting kind of old. Get in our spot there. Come on, baby. Trying to do this with the old hat cam and be perfect the first time. There we go. We'll press that a little bit farther. That's probably about good. I always measure everything, and okay, we're about 1 3/4. I think we're good. Something weird that I noticed on this bearing is it's bigger. So here we go, 1 3/4 to the arm on that side. From the outside of the pulley, here's where I'm measuring, from right there to there. And we're right on the money. So anyways, that's how you do it. I'm going to go test fit this. These new bearings are a little bit longer, so I don't know if that's going to hit anything. I might have to grind that off or something. But anyway, there you go. That's how you put a bearing on. I don't think that'll go anywhere, and hopefully this won't hit anything. If you look, the new bearing's longer than the old bearing. Anyways, that is putting on the idler pulley bearing 101. And I'm Dave Motorhead. Thanks for watching. That thing is a little bit weird, but it's on there, and that's how you do it. The most important thing is to make sure you press from the right spot. You want to press from the outside when putting it in the pulley, and you want to press the pin on the pin when you're putting it in the bracket. So anyway, that's bearing idler install 101. Thanks for watching.